tomorrow is a big day. Selection day. You guys know who is our number one candidate tomorrow. Shama Sawant will hopefully get through and be one of the top two candidates in Washington's 9th congressional district. We've put in, obviously, a lot of time and effort to help her out. You guys have been amazing, obviously, with supporting the PAC. So here's hoping that we get her through, and then we can take it a step further in the general election, where we will be addressing Adam Smith directly. That's number one. Obviously, it goes without saying, Senate race in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed, it does appear, is going to win, but nothing is guaranteed. Get to the polls, make sure that you do. I've said from the beginning, my instinct has always been saying that Sayed was going to win for one simple variable. He is a great candidate, and Haley Stevens is a disaster candidate.
She's horrible. She's horrible.
And when you really get down to it, to brass tacks, Jen, I think you would agree, the candidate dynamic has a lot to do with whether or not a person wins or loses. And you've always said, I mean, listen, Sayed was never going to be able to compete with Stevens financially, but he didn't need to. That wasn't the essence of it. It really came down to, does he have enough to compete in just in the arena? If he has enough, then he's going to be viable. And that's essentially what happened.
I mean, that's two different issues. So it's on the one issue, we always say that you just need to have what you need money-wise to hit the amount of voters that you need to hit, the amount of times you need to hit them, whatever that looks like in your district, in your whatever your state. And if you have what you need, it doesn't matter how much more they have. I said that when it was Hillary and Trump. I said that when it was Kamala and Trump. Yep. I've always said that because it's true. But the other issue is he is a very particularly good candidate. And at the end of the day, and this is what I have learned more than anything in doing this, seriously, this is what really matters the most. They have to like you.
Yeah.
They have to like you. You have to be likable. People have to like you. And that's just the way it is, whether it's to donate to you or to vote for you. They have to like you. Yeah. And when people aren't likable, then they have to resort to other means to get elected. People like Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Like, there's people that get elected even though nobody likes them. And you wonder, how does that happen? Because those people are entrenched and they use their power in nefarious ways to maintain power without having to be liked. But for a new candidate to come forward now, you really need to be likable.
Yeah, I think that is a huge dynamic that is shifting. Now, I don't think that that's going to work everywhere. Like South Florida, for example, it's a different dynamic, because the thing you have to remember is that one of the big things about the state of Michigan is that it's a Rust Belt upper Midwest state. And because of that, that is something. Listen, I said that.
I want to address that because I actually think I have an answer to that. But go ahead, Peter. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So again, as I was saying, I think that you have to have if there is a clear-cut dynamic that was sort of like an awakening situation for so many of us, is that, yes, the Democratic Party establishment led by Debbie Wasserman Schultz cheated Bernie Sanders against Hillary Clinton. That was obvious. And you could say that Bernie was a curmudgeon of a candidate in many ways, and he was, but he had a movement, a legitimate movement behind her. Hillary Clinton had a machine. She didn't have people. She didn't have the people behind her.
Brandon Klein was endorsed by Donald Trump.
That the blessing, like they put Fauci on the Catholic prayer candles. That's the same thing with Trump. Saint Trump blesses you, especially in the GOP primary. It's going to pay dividends, and that is ultimately why you would win.
Now, I don't know. I mean, I would guess that Stevens would be most of their choice. As to why they put her over McMorrow, I mean, to be honest, I don't think McMorrow was that better of a candidate. She was slightly more physically palatable and listenable, but really very cringy and very. I
not in the way Stevens is. Not in the way Stevens is.
No, it's a different kind of cringy. It's a different kind of cringy. But McMorrow was always in there for the same purpose. It was never. Stevens was always their pick.
Yeah, I agree.
McMorrow was just in there to draw votes away from Syed. Didn't work.
the fact of the matter is, if we're getting down to brass tacks here, why this ultimately happened is that Bernie, unfortunately, despite the fact that he really was a very unique candidate in 2015 and 2016, is that when push came to shove, he reverted back to the fact that he is the establishment. He is. And he may not claim that he is. And of course, he allowed the establishment to beat him into the ground that it was his fault that Trump won the election. Not Debbie Wasserman Schultz's or Hillary Clinton's or Robbie Mook's or anybody else's. It was his fault because he couldn't get his people in line. They didn't listen. They did not fall in line. They weren't good foot soldiers. They became suppressive people, you know, kind of like in Scientology. So that's essentially what happened. He got his mind right. He got in line, and he was never the same after that. And that's why when he ran in 20, it wasn't the same as 2016. But what we learned from that election is that all things being equal, the dynamicism of a particular candidate really does make a difference. However, and this is why we bring this up. Again, we hope Cori Bush wins tomorrow. Yes. I hope that Donovan McKinney wins against Sri Shavender, or however the fuck you say his name, Mr. APAC extraordinaire.
When's New York? New York's not tomorrow. Who's tomorrow? Just is it Missouri,
Michigan, Missouri, and Washington. I believe that's the three states that go tomorrow.
Okay.
But I bring this up because I came across this clip a little while ago, Jen. Now, you guys obviously all remember Melat Kiros, who won her primary in Colorado's 1st District, which covers a area that Jen used to reside in a number of years ago. But nevertheless, Kiros is somebody who I think a lot of people have high hopes for, that she could be a force on Capitol Hill. DSA.
Not after I saw this video, she can't. So if you're going to show what they showed on Punch Up last night, let me tell you.
Yeah. So in case you're wondering, you know how everybody got on Hillary Clinton when she said, I have a public position and a private position? Well, here comes your private position in public now.
Israel or anywhere in the region. Would it change your mind or open your perspectives if you did?
I'm sure it would, right? You know, part of the work that we've been doing here as well is having conversations with, you know, the Jewish community, specifically the Zionist Jewish community, to better understand different perspectives, different positions, different experiences. You know, again, my values have always been rooted in protecting dignity and safety for every single person, especially as it relates to these inalienable things about our, religion or ethnicity or culture. And my greatest concern right now is that the state of Israel is losing support all across.
That's your biggest concern? That's your biggest concern?
Let me tell you, I heard about her. I remember when she won. Like, I remember, I know who we're talking about. I didn't know anything about her, didn't really investigate it, didn't look into it, didn't care. So I'm happy to say I did not support this twat, but this is a whole bunch of shit. Now, I don't know, like, if that district is still like a sure thing blue district, but this kind of talk, it is. Oh, so then she's the sure thing. So whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
But she's just another bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why you could come out and say this. And this is exactly why I just want to say, from my perspective, I appreciate her saying this. I do. Because what you have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, and this is one of the reasons why we do not have the most positive opinion about the DSA. They are going to try to sheep herd you back into the Democratic Party, and this is the type of shit that is going to become front and center. Now, I'm not saying that that's how it's going to be for everybody. I'm not saying that Zoran is not going to curtail the people that he is ushering into positions of power. I actually think Zoran is the one person out there who understands his ability to create a real power dynamic in New York that can't be recreated in other places. However,
I also think about him, he doesn't have a public position and a private position. I actually think he believes in what he's saying. I do. Now, what he can effectively get through, but I do think he's much better at putting out there what he knows can happen versus putting out there bullshit and then having to backtrack. Or she's been a plant the whole time. So for somebody asking, this is the woman who just won the primary in Denver that is going to be the new congressperson from the Denver area. Melat
the
Kiros,
political
what's her name?
spectrum here in the U.S. And I believe that I think we're leaving a vacuum on the left and the progressive wing to speak to this criticism in a way that is in line with our values, to where people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who are raging anti-Semites, and
what in the ever-loving fuck is wrong with you? I feel like this lady.
And when you say, is she a Zionist? I'm going to say worse. She's what they call a liberal Zionist, apparently. This bitch is probably still touting the two-state solution. That's what she's talking about.
Raging anti-Semites. Listen,
way?
Say that about Nick Fuentes. Say that about, think of any cringe, right-wing, crazy person. And we'll get to who she's addressing in a minute, because obviously that's one of the main stories we're addressing tonight. But I thought it was important to just get to this point, because if there's one thing we understand about the situation we're in right now, this revolutionary situation we're in, you can have significant disagreements with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. But to go after them in this capacity, when they have been front and center speaking out against the state of Israel more than any voice, it's like she got her talking points. Like, oh, yes, Master. Yes, Master. I understand the rules. I understand my responsibilities now. I got my mind right.
That's exactly what that means. The fact that she is talking about them means that she was given those talking points and she's already in line with the party. So whatever bullshit she sold y'all out in Colorado, wherein you thought she might have been, I don't know, standing up to the party values, she clearly just toes the party line. That's her. Talking about both sides and understanding the perspective of Zionists. There's no understanding Zionists. There's no understand. That's like saying, you know what, we need to really discuss the position with the Nazis and really have an understanding with them. That's how stupid this bitch sounds.
Oh, no, we're going to have fun with this, because we've got a couple of Zio hunting to do later on in this show.
Oh, I sent you a couple of good ones.
Yeah, we'll continue.
White supremacists and Christian nationalists are pretending to care about Palestinian safety. Really, it's just masking their overt hatred of Jewish people.
You're singing my song.
And if we are not presenting our vision of what we believe in with our democratic values, extends not just to the Palestinian people, but to the Israeli people and to the Jewish people, that land has a distinctly Jewish character, a distinctly distinctly Muslim character.
Oh, no, stupid twat. It has a distinctly Palestinian character. That's what it has, because it's Palestinian, right? There's no Jewish character about that. It's Palestinian, some of whom were Jews. The Palestinian Jews, like those Jews. Yeah, there were those people. But other than that, there's no Jewish character there. None. Just Palestinian as far as the eye can see. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Character. Yeah. It's a land that has seen bloodshed for centuries. And we, I think, are doing a disservice to the people of that region by not offering our progressive vision in a way that isn't immediately swatted down as, bigoted or anti-Semitic. And that's going to require a lot of conversations, a lot of hard conversations. There will be things that we learn, there will be missteps and mistakes made. But as long as we're continuing that conversation, we are at the very least presenting an actual vision in line with our values that can combat and hopefully silence a lot of the anti-Semitism that's coming from the right, because we're leaving that vacuum wide open right now if we are afraid to have these conversations.
One of the things.
Okay, first of all, we are so far past conversations. I don't know what her background is. What's her ethnic background? Does anybody know what where she comes from, whatever it is? Because she clearly has no concept of oppressed peoples, none. So I'm curious what her background is. She thinks we should still be having a conversation. We're so far past the conversation, lady. I don't know
Well,
what she's talking about.
according to one of our New York friends, she was, well, listen, here's the thing that you have to remember. And this is what, I wasn't even going to bring this up, but it's pretty obvious that she's going through an AOC speed run is essentially what she's doing. Like that's effectively what she's done. Now, when you look into the history,
I question that narrative now.
Yeah.
I wonder if her being fired from her job as pro-Palestinian is sort of like how Alex was just a meager bartender, a working class bartender.
Yeah, and it turns out that Alex was actually a part owner in the bar that
And
she
not
was
working
bartending
class.
in. And that is actually not an uncommon thing, especially in places like Westchester County, New York, which is where she comes from. Despite
So
what
this
she would have
woman
to
does
believe.
not seem like, I do not see, I don't know. I think they took whatever happened to her, twisted it to fit that narrative to push her through in progressive places. But she is clearly not a progressive. She has no concept of oppressed people. She clearly does not know the history of Palestine, and she should just go shut the fuck up.
And the thing, and again, what you're seeing, and Andrea took the words out of my mouth, as was the case. I was like, listen, I'm like listening to Alex do in a speed run. I'm watching a person who comes out and says one thing, and then what it turns out is that, she probably wasn't even fired. And if you haven't hit that like button yet, guys, please do.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is it could be something that she did decide to leave. And maybe they just, that story, now that I just heard her speak, and I didn't
an
really
origin
know
story.
That her origin story, I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I call bullshit.
I do too.
And I just, again, we're not falling for this shit anymore.